Hello everyone, it's the Grey Goose, and today we have our December patch update for Magic the Gathering Arena. I just wanted to break it down to you what I think the good, the bad, the ugly, and the mixed impressions I get from this patch and the recent State of the Game article posted a few days ago. Of course, all of these links that I'm using will be posted in the description down below. So first of all, one of the two headliners, as I see, two major ones for the good is the friends list. They finally added that in. Wizards of the Coast was actually jerking our chain. Like the State of the Game article posted on the 10th, so 2 days ago, didn't straight up mention anything about the friends list when we had been expecting to hear something. Obviously, it's been delayed and delayed and delayed, but we kept seeing this little friendly icon person with a 0. So we thought, Wizards of the Coast employee 0 friend. That's 0. That's got to be a friends list icon, right? So yeah, they snuck it in. We have friends list now finally. Yay! It's limited in its capacity, but I guess we should be thankful for what we get at this point. So yes, if you know someone's full name, including their 4 or 5 digit number afterwards, you can add them. And once they're added, if your friend is online, you'll be able to see if they're online. You'll also be able to click a button and direct challenge them if they're like not in a match or whatever. So that's the functionality basically to the extent at this point. They said, next up they want to be able to do messaging to that person, which I think is an obvious thing they should do as well. So good for them. They finally got it in. So next up on the major good things for this update, a deck sorter. Yes, finally. You can sort by format, last modified or alphabetical, color identity, or you can even search in the search bar for a specific name phrase. It says decks no longer require set or collection number when importing them to Magic Arena. This sounds good, and I think it's gonna still be good, and when it's exported it'll still give an exact set number. But I've already heard that there's been some issues where it automatically looks just for the most recent iteration of a card, like something that's been printed more than once, like Duress, for example. If you don't have 4 of the most recent Duress and you're trying to import 4, it'll say invalid deck when you actually have 4 from the previous set or 2 or whatever Duress. So I think they still need to tweak that just a little bit more. Further things that I would like to see about the decks are, I think there's still that 100 deck limit. Allow us to have more would be great, maybe 200, and also allow us to have folders. That'd be great too. But overall, still an improvement. So what I also want to say is, in my opinion, a good thing is the suspensions. Now, this might be a little bit controversial. I know people have spoken out about these suspensions, but bear with me here. Let me open this. What I want to try and reiterate here is they're doing this for the health of the metagame. This is going to come temporarily at the expense of some people who've chosen to craft these cards between when they were banned in standard and they will be full on banned by March, they said. In this article, which will be in the description, it'll explain it further, but what I'm trying to say is Standard has banned these cards: Once Upon a Time, Field of the Dead, Veil of Summer, Ogre Thief of Crowns, and even formats going back to, for example, Pioneer, which is a 7-year-old format. They have chosen to ban all of these cards except for Oko. So why was it fair to be seeing these cards in Historic? It didn't make any sense, because if you think about it, all the way back to 7 years ago, Pioneer, when it started, Return to Ravnica, you have all of those answers to these cards, right? But it's still banned there. They're so strong. But in Historic, they still kept them. So this is a good decision. I think what it's going to do is they're going to ban Once Upon a Time, Field of the Dead, and Veil of Summer in a few months from now, weeks from now, when they finally get enough data to convince them. And I think Oko will come back off the suspension at some point. He'll be released back in Historic. So now I know you're thinking, what about wildcards? What about wildcards? What about wildcards? Well, let me just show you here. This is the paragraph you guys need to be concerned about. How suspensions will be used if you're worried about the wildcards, which I would be too. But hear me out. This gives you an example. You know, if you've already collected 2 copies of Oko when it was banned in Standard, you already have received your 2 wildcards. So later the card is also banned in Historic. So now they're talking about down the road, like if it moves from the suspension to the ban list, which they said they will have made that decision by March at latest. So though they still have just the 2 copies, they won't receive additional wildcards because they've already been reimbursed for the copies they have. However, if they have crafted or otherwise collected more copies between the standard ban and the historic ban, they would receive reimbursement for those new copies after the historic ban. So what this all means is that no matter what, when these cards eventually go to the ban list instead of the suspension list, you will get reimbursed for every card that you have not been already reimbursed for. So the very, very worst way you could look at this is that you're going to get the wild cards, but it's delayed by, you know, up to, you know, a few months. You know, that sucks. But the overall health of the metagame of Historic, I think, is worth it. If they need convincing by taking their data a few weeks, a month or 2 tops, I think that's a fine. Like, and yes, it would suck that you spent your wild cards and you don't get to play with it in the meantime. But like I said, if it's not healthy enough for Pioneer, it is definitely not healthy enough for Historic. And you can still technically use these cards in direct challenge with your friends list, people. And I suspect that eventually Oko will come off the suspension list. He'll be back into Historic anyways, because he's not banned in Pioneer. So next up on the good for our list is some of these historic events that they'll be running. One of them is Historic Artisan from December 20th to the 30th. So that's 10 days. You pay 2,500 gold or 500 gems. It's for 5 card styles, which might not super float your boat, but the cards that they chose are popular enough that they get played. Plus, it's Artisan, which is a fun, in my opinion, format. It's all commons and uncommons in the historic pool. Militia Bugler, that gets played a lot in things like Knights or something that's white, low to the ground. Curious Obsession, when your mono blue was running rampant before standard rotation, that card was basically the thing that won them the game through the grind, because it allowed them to draw a card with their evasive flyers and such, or merfolk, which couldn't be blocked. Cast Down, that's a 2 CMC instant that destroys any non-legendary creature. That's one of the main forms of removal that we miss coming into this standard rotation. Gutter Snipe, that was a nice little burn down combo, pings you down, kind of like Cinder Vines and such. That was seen in some play too. And of course, Wild Growth Walkers. These guys were played in a lot of the Explore package, and card styles for these cards, plus a fun format, 10 days worth. I think that's worth. Next up on our good is Dominaria Ranked Draft. That goes for about 2 weeks, it looks like. It's 5,000, so it's the typical prize pool to enter, typical prize pool that you would win, but it's I think it's the first historic event ranked draft. So this is pretty cool looking, I think. There's also some quality of life changes. I think some not documented here, some that are, like the auto tap now correctly recognizes mana that can be produced by Guild Globe or Golden Egg, so you don't have to manually click on all of them. One of the ones I heard on the subreddit is that the cats combo, when you sacrifice a cat using a witch's oven, or if you're using the wicked wolf to sacrifice a food, now when you click on now it's going to be more automatic, I was told. So that seems pretty good too, because we know how long that was taking on each of our turns. Last up on the good changes here are some of these store changes. There's interesting new bundles and stuff, but moreover, you know what to expect from these. But what I think is interesting is that they're doing these sales. I don't know if they've done them before. Basically, things that are going to be leaving soon, they cut the price down as far as I can tell. They've added in some new avatars, some new sleeves, and these can also be purchased for gold. So that's pretty cool. Maybe this Nicol Bolas before wasn't available for gold, but now he is. Same with Mew Langling. I don't know. But basically now there's more gold sinks I think that are appropriate for cosmetics. And they're good ones too. This Lightning Bolt Exquisite sleeve, that is a sick looking lightning bolt if I ever saw one. On the store page, and you can see here on the store page, they now have these more transparent, I guess, tags. They're kind of clickbaity, if you will, but this is the new great deal. So they're showing that these are new to the store. And like I said, look at that lightning bolt. Most popular, but also what I want to show you here is these limited time offers. So these are the ones that they're showing and the offer in soon that they will rotate out. So you might have to do a little research on your own to see how long these still have left in the store. But yeah, see, Nicol Bolas is here. I don't think he was here before. And yeah, so these, I think they're on sale because they're going to be leaving soonish. I could be wrong, but maybe that's why they're on sale for half off. They added the new pet that you can buy from the bundles for Theros Beyond Death. And also the Dragon Whelp is kind of a recent addition in the past few weeks. So a huge gold sink, but if you have gold, I mean, it's a Cerberus guy and barks. Also, they added this little counter here for your daily and weekly wins. You can see my weekly wins are already maxed out, and it also tracks it out of 15 instead of 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. That was just weird looking. So let's move on to the mixed reactions I have. And the first one right here is Rice, or Reese, probably Reese the Redeemed. Let me go ahead and pull him up in a different webpage. So let me show you here. Reese the Redeemed. They added him as a new Brawl. They're hoping Commander, or he can be played in Brawl of any of the appropriate colors, being green or white. And he's also technically now available to be legal in Historic. So why is this a mixed reaction for me? So first and foremost, I think any card brought back from the past into Arena is a good thing. The problem that I have, though, is the consistency, the trend, the pattern, the orthodox that Wizards has of doing this. This card is from 2008. It's over 10 years old, and we know they've said in the past that one of the formats they're trying to work towards is going to Pioneer eventually. But this one's beyond even Pioneer. This would be, what, Modern? It goes back that far. And just to pick this random one card out of the thousands of cards between now and way back then, it just seems a little off to me. I feel like they need to be spending more time on introducing blocks of cards, sets of cards, instead of just one here, one there. But once again, I'm happy that they're adding anything in. It's just I wish they would do it in a more predictable pattern, I guess, instead of cherry picking one thing out of thousands. Next up on the mix for me is the performance check-in. Overall, I would personally say I've received a lot of performance boosts since last month's update. Ironically, I also kind of updated some core components of my computer, so I don't know whether to attribute it to that or the patch or both. I think they have some numbers here to kind of show that overall frames per second and the hitching in the game is better. Also, the issues with the sideboarding that some people have, or the disconnects and not able to reconnect, whereas I've had those in the past, but not recently. The mixed part about this, in my opinion, is still the memory leaks, and those are still very apparent. Especially if you leave the game on for over an hour and you go back into your deck list, it's going to lag, it's going to be chunky, you have to reset at that point. And I think the fact that you have to reset your client after an hour or whatever, or if you have more than 10 or 15 decks when you can have up to 100 and we're wanting even more, I think that's still, and they are working on it, so good on them for that. But you know, it's some good and some bad here. I'm seeing improvement, but there's still poor things that still have to be addressed, in my opinion. So some more mixed for me in this update is, like, for example, the standard shakeup, which is available for 1 week in December, 2,500 gold or 500 gems. And I guess it's a way to kind of try and help catch up on experience points for your mastery pass if you're still a little low. But really, it's just 2 card styles. And honestly, Flux Channeler is a card that you basically never see. Escape to the Wilds, you'll see in some Clover Adventure, or I think I've even seen like a Jund Ramp decks. So that's a decent card. But one decent card and 3k XP for 2,500 gold, that one's going to be a tough buy for me. And for me, a mixed example of another event is the Historic Challenge. That's targeted only to certain people, so that may be your cup of tea. It's just not mine. I don't have this sort of gold or gems that I feel comfortable gambling, basically, because it's high risk, high reward. If you win, you get 6,000 gold, but you get 40 packs, and starting at 5 wins, you get a Guy's Cradle Sleeve, which Guy's Cradle Sleeve, I don't have the image for that, but that sounds like it'd be awesome. You do get a Treasure Hunt sleeve, which I think is new also to Arena, but the wins that you get up to 4 wins are kind of lame. Like if you win 4 wins, you get 4,000 gold and 4 rare mythic ICRs. So you're almost getting back what you put in at 4 wins. If you include the sleeve, maybe you could call it equal at that point. So for the only quote-unquote bad thing I want to mention in this patch that's not ugly is this Planeswalker Momir event. I personally am anti-Momir in any way, and I would not touch that with a 10-foot stick unless I have to. It's 2,500 gold for a week's long queue just to get 3k XP, so only if you like Momir. I don't know many people who like Momir. I'm sure there's a small segment of the population, but if you want that much RNG, maybe you're better off playing a different game like Hearthstone. And so lastly, let's get on to the ugly. And if you've heard anything about the State of the Game article, or if you've already seen the patch notes, you probably know what the ugly is. It's the Brawladays. Now, Brawladays is supposed to rhyme with holidays, I'm assuming. And holidays are supposed to be something you do in good spirit, or in the spirit of giving. It's the holidays, you know. It's a happy time of year. But this is super greedy, and this is not acceptable for what they should be doing to us. Let me show you what it is. For 10,000 gold or 2,000 gems, which is roughly what, $15 US equivalent, you have basically a month long, a little bit over a month, queue of being able to play Brawl on any day of the week at any time. So you're not limited to Wednesday. This should be how it always is, for free. The only thing you win with this, other than getting to play Brawl 24/7, is 1 copy of Rise the Redeemed, which you can buy for 1 rare wild card. 10,000 gold is 10 packs. You can easily get a rare wild card and a half, more than a half, for Reese with that gold. So I want to make sure you guys understand that this is they're just doubling down on trying to take away all your, they're just trying to take away all your gold before Theros Beyond Death releases next month, and this sort of practice should not be allowed to go through. So what I suggest you do, and I'll put these links in the description below, look up arenabrawl.net, I think I remember that right, and the Brawl Hall Discord, I think that's hosted or started by the YouTuber streamer Merchant, who also has a great YouTube channel. I will link that too. Merchant is awesome. Just do not buy into this, guys. You can play Brawl any day of the week, direct challenge with anyone you want, and you can even play it historic, and the Brawl Hall and the Arena Hall, or brawlarena.net, arenabrawl.net, they always have players looking to play the game. So, you know, if you can't play on Wednesdays, don't feel suckered into doing this. And also, we need to show Wizards that this isn't okay to do. They need to just open this queue to public 24/7 anyways. You already paid for your cards, right? In one way or the other, with time or with money or with both. And you shouldn't have to double down and pay again to play them. So overall, I came into the patch today with the taste in my mouth from the state of the game a few days ago, where we had no idea about the friends list and the initial shock of the Brawler Days announcement. I came in today thinking that the good, the bad, the ugly, the mixed, it was going to heavily be a negative experience. But overall, I actually have quite a majority in the good spot, with the very small and the bad. And I think the mixed, you know, could be taken either way or with a grain of salt type deal. The only real terrible thing about this update is the Brawler Days, which we know Wizards in the past has doubled back on some of their decisions that they initially put out, like the 2-for-1 wild cards for historic, which I can't believe they still put that forward, but now I can't believe they're putting this forward. But so hopefully we'll change their mind soon. Overall, a lot of good I think today from today's update, and you guys go out there and have some fun. If you guys like watching a random daily deck with different colors, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll catch you guys later.